Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. Welcome to our monthly critique. Hello. Welcome to Patreon. We're so sorry you waited so long for us, but we have some crazy shit to talk about. We watched a documentary on Amazon. You can watch it free on Amazon. It's called Love
Me.
What the fuck? Love Me. Okay, I'm like, it's called Love Me, Love You. So before we get started into it, what do you guys have any prior thoughts or knowledge about mail order brides?
Well, I mean, in light of everything that's happening in the Ukraine, being a mail order bride is probably not so bad.
Yeah. Russia as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And so when this was recorded, this was a couple of years old though.
Yeah.
2017, I think. Something like this.
Something like that. I wanted to say 2016, 24, around that area, around that time. Oh my God, my computer's about to die. Let me go get a charger. Jesus Christ.
Kill you. Of course.
Right.
So I just looked it up, and the documentary was filmed in 2015, or it came out in 2015. I guess it was filmed over the course of a couple of years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you want to get started?
Yeah. So my initial response to watching the video was to watching the documentary was like, all these dudes look the same.
Yeah. There's a particular type of man that will get a mail order bride from another country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was just like, these men are reaching for the fucking stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can't score with an American woman for whatever reason. And
some of them seem fine, I mean, I wouldn't fuck them, but
No. Yeah, they almost seemed like they have disillusionment towards American women, and so they're looking for a certain type. They're trying to reach for a higher. They're trying to shit above their asshole, like my mom always says.
So I wonder, do you think that there's something being left unsaid about
absolutely
the type of woman they wouldn't agree to in America?
Now being opinionated?
Yeah. I want a woman that's going to be submissive to me, be hot and thin and young, is there's something being because all of them say that I can't find love here. I just want to be loved. And maybe there is a level to that is sort of true. The one guy was married and had 3 kids. So it was
a couple of them had been married.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But see, the thing is that they were looking for women that were at a disadvantage to them. You know what I mean? That would depend on them, because they would be moved from one place to a completely unknown place, not even knowing the language. Right. So they wanted to have the upper hand on a woman for once.
Right.
And they also wanted a woman who fit a certain criteria, young and beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So the women, on the other hand, were looking for an escape.
Right.
And they didn't care, they didn't care who the guy was. They didn't care what he looked like.
And to that end, okay. Kind of okay, I get it. You know what I mean? There's all levels of
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
See it like this. And I started to see a pattern with these chicks. They're like, okay, there's nothing going on in this country.
Mm-hmm.
The men are unemployed. They're alcoholics. The one girl even said it. Yeah. And she said it's really hard to find a man, that can help you here. Yeah. And so they have no choice but to do this kind of internship, where they're coming to the United States, the only legal way that they can, through a marriage that they know isn't going to last, but that they can, once they get here, they hit the ground running. Okay.
Mhm.
And they learn the language right away, and they try to get their resources together, and then 2 years tops, they go their separate ways.
Yeah. I
It's a
mean,
problem.
even like the ones that are not like, and we'll get into each of them, I guess, or however you have this set up, but even the ones towards the end where they're like, you know, they have kids in their country or like whatever. I think it seemed like they were like getting a portion of how many emails they were receiving, or, you know, whatever, even if they have no intention of actually coming to America, it's a way for them to like make that money, which is like, that dude spent thousands of dollars, $10,000 on emails.
Tens
it's
of
like,
thousands
yeah.
at the end, and then restarted sending money.
Yeah. So it's
So
like,
let's talk about the guys.
yeah, go
Mhm.
for it.
That gun collector guy was a straight up incel.
Bro, could you imagine if you showed up, like, right? You show up in America and all you know about America is that we eat fast food and we have guns. And you walk into this motherfucker's house and he's like, this is my AK-47, this is my shotgun, this is my this gun. And I was like, I would be so fucking scared. I would be so fucking scared.
And anyone can tell you what state he's from, and we haven't mentioned it yet.
Yeah.
But anyone would
Take a
automatically be
wild
like,
guess.
Texas? Texas. Yes, he was an engineer from Texas.
I
Yeah,
was
that
so
was just-
shocked.
That was Eric. Eric,
They
engineer from Texas that was obsessed with guns and had not had any successful relationships. And he must have been in his 40s.
go figure.
Yeah.
I was shocked that he was an engineer, because that takes a little bit of know-how.
Well, and that was the thing. These guys had like jobs, like
Yeah.
own their own businesses, you know, had like these full established lives, you know?
Yeah, I have
Mhm.
information on Eric at the end,
Okay,
Oh, I
all right.
know.
because I went down a straight up rabbit hole. I swear. to you. So then there was another guy. He was heavier. He was a heavy set guy, and he wanted a supermodel wife. Like, he was looking for a supermodel.
Ain't
He
we all,
wanted
baby?
nothing less. I was like, okay, dude, shoot your shot.
You're talking Bobby from HR, game obsessed. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he even said, he's like, I got a couple pounds, or I got a little, I forget what he said. Like, I got a little pudge around the center. And we're like, yeah, we know.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then there was the douchebag guy. He was like, I've been on 5 dates that lasted 5 minutes. And
Yeah,
I'm
go
like, oh my
away.
God, you look like a cult leader. His name was Ron. He
Yeah.
looked like a fucking cult leader.
Ron
His name
from
was
North
Ron.
Carolina.
Yeah. His name was Ron. He's the kind of guy that like wears a polo shirt tucked in with a belt, and he's got his cell phone clip on the side with his like high
Mhm.
socks and loafers. You're like, Ron.
Mhm.
Ron.
The only reason
Ron.
those 5 dates didn't last more than 5 minutes is because the women got up and left. So like simply,
Yes.
that was
Mhm.
not about you, bitch.
That was Ron.
Absolutely.
That was Ron from North Carolina. He was obsessed with exercising, married 22 years, and from the way he spoke, he obviously hated his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He hated every woman that ever lived.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And towards the end,
Also-
we see something else.
He was the
Also-
one that. Go ahead.
Also, he wore Abercrombie and Fitch t-shirts. Fuck you.
Fuck you. You're like 60. Go away.
I mean,
He was the one that was like, I married my like childhood sweetheart or
Mhm.
whatever. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
then there was Wisconsin. And he was like, I'm gonna take my chance in Russia because I work on a freaking dairy farm and there's not a woman for 200 miles. And I felt kind of sorry for him.
Right.
Same. Same.
You know what? He just wasn't in the right place to find a woman. And his eyes were fucking sad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was
That-
like really the one that made the most sense to me.
Mhm.
Yes.
That was Travis the farmer.
Yes.
That's how I have it written.
And here's the thing, like, okay, I get it. These men are looking for women all over the place, right? They go to, all these third world countries, but why not Africa? I was just like very curious. Why not Africa?
Take a guess. Take a wild guess.
Not
Why
the right
Africa?
color. I mean, I started out when they started introducing the beginning. I said it's a bunch of old white men.
Yeah, but
Well,
they go
not
to the
only-
Philippines.
Huh?
Yeah, but the reason I'll tell you my opinion of why you wouldn't see it from like a country in Africa or a country in South America is those women are less likely to be submissive. You know, Hispanic women, particular, the two I know, are simply not going to just allow some man to fucking tell them to shut the fuck up or like make me a sandwich or do this or do that. Where like, you know, in the Asian culture and in like Russia, they're like, you know, they train them from very, very young women, you know, young children to be like real submissive. And also I think Africa, like these white guys are not going to marry some black woman from Africa. They're just not. They're fucking racist. Like,
Have you
we're
seen
going for the
Ethiopian
whitest
woman though?
Huh?
Have you seen an Ethiopian woman though? They're gorgeous.
Oh my God, I follow this woman
yeah.
on TikTok. There's this woman on TikTok from, I think she is in Ethiopia. She has the most beautiful complexion.
Oh my God.
And she just like, people in America ask her questions and she's just like the one the other day was like, what do you do for a living? And she was like, I just me. And she's just so beautiful. And she like wears her hair like real natural and like she has all these like beautiful clothes and just, yeah.
They're
That
fucking
woman's never
beautiful.
gonna have that big round Texan gun-toting idiot all on top of her. Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Sweating all over and shit.
So let's talk about the girls, shall we?
We missed one person.
Oh,
That's Robert from California. He was the divorced construction man. And we
yes,
need to point him out.
definitely. Thank you.
What about the guy
because-
from Australia?
Oh yeah.
Oh, but that comes
Oh,
in later.
Okay.
I threw up in my mouth a little bit when you mentioned it.
What about the guy
That
from
was-
California?
That was a little.
Yeah.
I found Robert from California very interesting.
Why?
I have an update about Robert from California.
Okay, so we'll wait until Nydia
Yeah.
gives us more.
No, okay, so Robert from California is the most normal aside from Travis. He was the most normal of the bunch. You know, he was just, you know, he had tried his hand at dating. He was divorced and he was just looking for something exciting, something different. You know, he didn't necessarily need to have a mail order bride. He just wanted something interesting and new. So let's talk about the girls, shall we?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was Svetlana, who is fucking gorgeous, right? And so are
Obviously,
her
yeah.
daughters. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then let's go to the Australian guy. She's matched up with a guy who's fucking picking his feet on video. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
See, fuck
straight
all
up-
that.
He's old and he's nasty and he's picking his feet during the documentary.
And I'm saying that's exactly what I write. That's Michael from Australia.
Sir,
And
you are
I
too
just like
comfortable.
playing with feet. Can you stop playing with your feet?
Sir, you are too
Picking-
comfortable.
The toe jam out of his freaking toes.
Mhm.
Nasty.
It was.
Ugh. So beautiful Svetlana is matched with that fucking jokester, and he thinks that she's in love.
Right.
She also has very sad eyes, but how gorgeous is she and her daughters?
Yeah.
Then they cut to, I mean, I must be missing a bunch of parts, but like they cut to the retreats where the guys all go to meet these girls. They go to the country and they go clubbing. They go to a series of clubs and events where it's, you know, men meeting the women that are eligible, you know?
You know, I was like, when we were following that part of it, I was actually like, okay, like I sort of see what you're doing here. Like this sort of like, you know, you go to the country, you get to see some sightseeing. There's, you know, everybody's here for the same reason. We all know what this is.
Right.
Like, I didn't hate it. You know what I mean? I kind of was like,
It's kind of
okay.
like speed dating. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
you
kinda
you
like,
know
okay.
you're going there to meet
yeah,
each other,
yeah,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
got
it was
like,
Also, nobody knows how to speak each other's language.
right.
Well, they had translators there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's where the
The
money comes from.
translators can clean shit up.
Yeah.
Right. And so that seemed like the most natural way to meet each other because like you're not just looking at a picture and you're looking at that seemed like the most genuine.
Mhm.
way to meet somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I kind of was like, okay, like I see what you're doing here. Like this is a business happening that makes sense to me,
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Um,
Also, how 80s tastic were all of those clubs.
Yeah.
oh my God, very, very. But see, that's where, like, if you add up the ages of all those people, they were either boomers or Gen Xers, like older
Mhm.
Gen Xers. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Yeah.
so that was their time that
That
they
was their
shined.
jam. Yeah, like
Yeah. So that leads me to this next thing. I screamed when that old dude was on the ground and the women were dancing all over him and like grinding up on him. I was just like, fucking gross. It gave 2 girls 1 cup vibe.
That was Bobby Ray, the tour director, and I was like, because Danny had watched it before. She was the one that had suggested this, and she's like, "Wait for it, and I'm like, I looked at her and I was like, "This can't be more cringy. This can't get
I
more
wonder if
cringy."
they know him because like he's the guy that brings all the guys, so they're just like, hey, it's that guy again.
Yep.
Oh my God,
He
so
had-
cringy.
He had the deadest eyes too.
Because he knew what was happening. He
you
knew
imagine?
the whole thing is nothing more than just slightly above a scam.
He
I mean,
must
it
be
is a
very,
scam.
very
It's a
slightly.
full-on scam, but I mean, it's it's just got a little bit of layer of non-scam involved.
If there wasn't one, there's that one person that actually gets, married, you're like, well, like that's what keeps it going. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's one.
And how
like,
many do we see? We see Robert, Eric, Bobby, Ron, Travis, and Michael. And then we'll talk about how many actually got married out of that group.
Yeah, we will. We
Yeah.
will.
Mhm.
So the scene then the next scene that really stood out to me was when in the club when Ron is talking to the girl at the table and he asks if she has kids and she says no, do you want? And he says hold on, like he's like hold on, like I'm not done talking or something. And I was like, at that point I wanted him to die alone. Like I wasn't on his team. I was like, fuck him. How dare you wear Abercrombie and Fitch at your age, sir?
Yeah.
Also, how many times did he complain about the ages of the people
Right.
that were there? And he wanted like a perfect age.
He wanted an older woman so that he didn't feel so old, because in comparison to the younger girl, he was going to feel old, and he had like this ageism thing going,
Mhm.
and so he wanted a woman that was kind of close to his age but looked good at the same time. But he
Mhm.
didn't want her to talk because he
Right.
cut that chick off so quick.
Well,
And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm still talking.
Yeah, and he said like, I'm looking for a very specific, like it matters, your answers matter. And it was like, dude, chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, you're not
Mhm.
gonna get an older woman, that's would do this shit for like once we've been around the block, we're like, no, thanks, but no thanks.
Simply no.
I'll suffer here in fucking Ukraine,
Mhm.
But also not have kids at that point, because he was very like adamant that they didn't have children. And it's like, well, then you better date one of these 25-year-olds and she's gonna run circles around your limp dick. Like, sorry about it.
Right.
Probably gonna fuck you twice and then go find some young guy. Like that's the plan, right?
Sorry about it.
Sorry about it. She's like, your
Also-
dick no work.
Also, did you notice how dark those freaking places were? Like they
Hell
were
yeah.
in the
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. It helped with all of the appearances.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yes. So let's go back to the Australian guy with the feet, right? How much did he snuggle with those girls, with Svetlana's girls? I was like, dude, gross. Like, what the fuck?
Mm.
Like, she would let him like be all like huggy on the girls. And I was just like, no about that.
No, no one's coming in here. No, you don't ever need to meet my kids.
Right?
some
Like I was
weirdo
like,
from
why
America.
are the girls like so much part of that whole thing that she's got going on with the Australian guy?
I don't
That
know.
gave me cringy.
That he was thinking there was something going on, and she allowed him to come up in her house, and I was like, girl,
Ooh,
you
yeah.
fully know you are scamming this person. Why are you letting him know where you live?
Yeah. But I know we'll get to it, but like, what about that one girl that like rented the room or whatever she did and like had the guy come there and was like, we're gonna arrest her, like all of that, like, you know, if you don't pay us money.
Oh yeah, but we're not getting to that.
I
just
know, but I'm just saying, like, she was smart. Like, that was smart. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
that's how you do it. Like, get some like cheap ass Airbnb for the weekend. Be like, I have no furniture. I have no money. And like, the cops are here. Like, they're gonna arrest you. Like, that's a smart bitch right there.
Yep. But
She's got a scam running. Like, she's the smart one.
oh, absolutely. But so the guys that went there, the video game guy, what was his name? The big guy.
Eric.
Okay,
I
so
wanna
Eric.
say, no, I'm sorry. Eric is a gun-toting guy.
Okay, yeah.
We're looking at Bobby, who is game obsessed and had an affinity towards model-looking women.
Yes. So he shows up at this freaking meet and greet thing, right?
Mhm.
And he shows up with this ugly ass fucking rose, a brass fucking rose or some shit.
The gold zipped rose, yeah.
He was so fun.
You know, he got that
oh
shit
my
from
God.
like what's that Elvis Duran jeweler? The everyone
Oh.
the Steven Singer thing. Everyone hates Steven Singer.
Stupid. I was like, why not get her like a designer piece from Tiffany's or something if you're gonna show out, right? You get her this ugly ass freaking rose. And he gets fucking stood up. And he's like fending off other women, you know what I mean? Like,
So he fucking said,
yeah.
I didn't want to have to fend off women all night until my date got here. I'm like, babe, no, no one did that.
Mhm.
No one cares about your dick and your stupid rose.
He's like tapping the guy on the shoulder, like, are you taking names? Do you know if she got in here? And like they didn't speak English. He's like, no one speaks English. They're like, yeah, no shit, you idiot.
And if they did, they weren't gonna answer him just for the sake of not having to tell him, by the way, you got stood up.
The poor guy too was like pacing outside this club in his like
sweating.
Oh God, with his like tie and his like whatever he was wearing. And I'm like, buddy, you look like you went to like a wedding at the VFW. Like, what are you doing?
It was so bad.
He starts to think that it's a scam, that he's been scammed, and he's like outraged, and he turns into a freaking full-on Karen.
Yeah,
full-on Karen. But you know what? After the $10,000 that he spent in the translating of the documents, of the emails and messages that between him and the girl,
right, but what happens the next
y'all
day?
should have made sure she was here.
Yeah, but what happens the next day though?
What?
Oh,
the next day,
then when they have her,
they found her. They found her.
Okay. See, but the thing is, like the timeline kind of bounces around, you know, because you go from person to person. So I'm like, so I will get to that.
Oh,
so
right.
back to Svetlana, right? So Svetlana, she lives in in Ukraine or whatever it is that she lives in. You know, she's a poor girl. She's trying to make it work. She's a business girl, but she's a single mom, you know, and she's like just trying to make it work, you know what I mean? Like she describes about why she's doing this, and you know, she just looks like she's so sad in her eyes, you know, like somebody's putting her up to this or whatever, right? So then so now it's the next day, and it's our big guy. What's his name again?
You're talking about Eric with the
no,
the one that gets stood up.
So now we go back to him, and they find his girl Julia.
Ron,
right?
Ron.
No, it's not Ron. It's not Ron. Ron is the douchey guy. I'm talking
about. You said Robert.
It's Bobby.
Bobby. All right. So Bobby, they find his Julia, and Julia's fucking gorgeous. And I was just like,
yeah, he held up a picture and said she looks like Angelina Jolie. I'm like, babe, no.
I mean, your mommy told you lies. I mean, your mom said you were a cute boy, but like seriously, you're really taking it far. So he puts the fucking rose. I was really hung up on the rose. He puts it in a fucking plastic grocery bag. This is how he's gonna make this delivery of this freaking token of affection to this Julia Roberts lookalike, whatever the fuck he said that she looked like, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there pitying him. I was embarrassed for him. The cringe was real thick in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, she was super uncomfortable.
Imagine being the fucking translator in that situation. Like, could you fucking imagine like what that? Because I would be like, girl, like how they're not like conversing to themselves and being like, this fucking guy, this is what he just said to you right now, blah 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 blah. And then she's like, no, he didn't fucking say that. All right, tell him this. I just, like, oh my god.
Yep. So he proposes, right? But he still has to go through the translation service, you know. He fucking leaves the room thinking that he's engaged. You know, and, I mean, it's just like, are you for real?
Is this mental illness? It is, right?
It is.
It's a total delusion.
Oh, it's delusion. It's delusion of the kind that is, you believed it when your mom said you could do anything and you are a superstar.
Right.
It's that level of delusion.
It's also, just insane.
What?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, it's just insane how he just kept believing that she was like, yes, this is okay, even though it was very clear she was not connecting with him.
No, whatsoever. And the producers were like, are you engaged? And he's like, I think I'm engaged. And we're like, baby, no. You're not though, baby. Like, no. I mean, no, simply no. Your heart's gonna hurt later.
So back to Svetlana, right? So Svetlana gets a visit from the Australian guy, and she says that yes, she'll marry him, but she wants to marry him in Bali, which I was like, well played. Yeah. Well played. So
get that vacation.
I mean, yeah, you know, fully a vacation, you know. So, but I'm like, oh, poor child. It's like signing up for a freaking timeshare meeting. You know what I mean? You get the timeshare. So then they skip to Ron, and Ron says that the fucking ladies in the Ukraine, they're not fucking friendly. They're not that friendly. And I was like, fuck you, Ron. Douchebag. Right? How about freaking Wisconsin guy, Travis? He's in love.
So sad to me.
Oh my God. He falls in love with Victoria, a girl that he meets at that one thing.
Right.
And, you know, and her teeth are terrible. So, you know, it's real love. And he gets her.
I can't stand you.
He gets her a really nice ring. You know, I mean, that she would love to, you know, how she would love to live in Wisconsin is beyond me. Cause like, right?
It's the cheese. For me, that's the only thing.
Right. So, so she seems like, you know, like she's very pretty, but, she has like this, knowing about her. She even looks a little bit older than he does, but he's like head over heels for her, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like excited, and they go out like on a date throughout the city or whatever. You know, they don't just limit themselves to that one place. But we also meet Inna. And Inna, poor Inna was my favorite. Inna is an old maid at 30.
Yes, that's right.
Her parents were just the cartooniest of people of the Ukraine. I mean, like the cartooniest. And they wanted grandchildren. You know, they wanted grandchildren. Inna, she's 30. She hasn't met a man. We just want grandchildren. And it was just like, you know, like they wanted her to find somebody, right? So then they cut to, I think it was Eric, the gun guy. They cut to his house. And I wrote, oh my God, his house is as depressing as the Ukraine is.
Like, oh my God.
Oh my word. All right. That's
Also, that was his 6th trip out there. He had done 6 trips.
And just say that they're 10 grand a pop, you know, like just say.
It says here, I wrote down $12,000 to meet women.
That's totally out of control.
That's a lot.
So
I get that when I pay
we're
$24
valuable,
for
but,
Tinder for the month.
for Tinder?
Yeah, like if I have to pay for Tinder, I'm like $24. Like, no.
That's the price of love.
Yeah,
That's the price of trying to feed out the special ones.
Yeah.
So Anna and Eric are a match.
Right.
Mhm.
So, but
the
don't
gun
feel
guy
bad for
from-
Anna.
He's the gun guy from Texas, right?
Yes.
He is, right. Okay, all right.
Yes. And
Definitely
Anna,
don't feel bad for her.
yes,
Yeah.
Anna is a beautiful girl, but she
Yeah, I
has
think-
this like independent spirit. I'm going to do things my way. I'm not going to do what my parents want me to do. I'm going to do things my way.
Right.
So put a paper clip in Anna because I followed her afterwards and I have an update for you.
Go ahead.
Let's go. It's about to end, so let's go into the other.
Oh,
Okay. There's a second link.
So that leads me to Robert. Robert is the one that we said in the beginning was semi-normal. You know, he was like a normal guy. He had a construction company or something, and he had an ex-wife, and so, you know, he just did this to like, you know, try something new. So he seemed normal, right? And I'm thinking his ex-wife must think this is all very hilarious.
I would.
You know,
I would live for it.
right?
I would live. And
So-
not only like, I don't know if you know any guys that like work in construction or whatever, but like they have to be tearing him apart like all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was afraid you guys were frozen for a second because literally neither
Yeah.
one of you were moving. I mean, like,
Sorry.
I saw on like construction sites, like they're fucking assholes. So like, they must be like, oh, you know, like just like tearing him apart. I just can't even imagine. But anyway,
Yeah, absolutely. So he meets Vitalina. Okay, he meets her at the swap meet, whatever that meet thing, that
Yeah,
meet
right.
thing, right? So he
Yeah.
meets her there, and they hit it off. But he's as old as her dad.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, she's young, but she seems really cute and hopeful. And she just seems like the kind of girl that she wanted to just get married and have kids. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
she saw like the kindness in his eyes, and she kind of liked that he was like a harmless guy. You know what I mean? He was just looking
Yeah.
for love, and that's exactly what she was looking for. And I instantly like just gravitated towards their story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'll touch on their story at the end. So back to Svetlana and the foot guy. They get married in Bali.
The foot
Right?
guy. Wait,
And-
but before they get married though,
Uh-huh.
before they get married, he gets an email or a letter from
Oh,
somebody
yes.
saying that like she's gonna marry you, but it's fake, and she's gonna pretend to marry you, and she's gonna bring a dress and all this shit. And he's like, I confronted her, and she said, oh, it's just someone trying to keep us apart. And I'm like, buddy, what are you
Mhm.
doing? Anyway,
Also,
God,
she wouldn't even let him kiss her.
Yeah, no.
She'd be all like, she would do that shit, okay? And so she's fucking looks beautiful, and he's freaking gross, and they're getting married. And it's all like she looks miserable. She looks like she's about to freaking be hung. Like, it's insane.
Yeah,
Mhm.
her death march.
Right. They never consummate the marriage ever. Like, he doesn't
No.
touch a hair on her pretty head.
She didn't even want to be kissed at the wedding, at the actual
Yes.
ceremony during the
Right.
kiss.
Right.
What's the fucking delusion there? Like,
I don't know.
you know? So
I don't know.
anyway,
I don't know.
right. And he's
Just
like
a
spending
tad bit
money
too
on her.
aggressive.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I mean, you know, if you're getting married, you think that person likes you enough to kiss you,
At least.
right? That's the mins, right? So we're on wait, I'm stuck. So we're back to Julia and the big guy, right? The
Bobby.
Bobby. So Julia and Bobby break up, and he turns into a full-blown Karen, and he wants his money back because he said he spent thousands of dollars on the translation services, and you know, he deserves some of that money back.
Right. And he would, because he was still like being like, I don't know if it was the right girl, it might have been a different girl, blah blah blah, all that bullshit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he thought it was like a scam that they were running on him, and
Yeah,
you know, and
because he was like, they removed her from the service, but I didn't get any of my money back, and you know, whatever.
Exactly.
He
So
never
he
stopped
starts
using
to-
the service.
Right. He continues to use the service because he's still a freaking eternal hope. I mean, so then we have Travis, and he travels back to see his girl. I forget what the girl's name was. Do you know? You remember what the girl's name was?
Victoria?
Was it Victoria? Yeah. So he travels back to her, and when they were interviewing him, I was like, oh my God, he's got the biggest case of moisty mouth. Like, I was just like, oh my God. And then
that's such a turn off.
He brings the fucking ugliest balloons. And I'm like, could they have picked uglier balloons, like mud colored balloons? Like, they were just depressing as balloons. And so that was that. Okay, so that was Travis. So Travis is there. He's not a happy camper.
Right.
No, my computer's trying to shut down. He's not a happy camper. All right. And then he's at the apartment, and somebody fucking bangs on the window. And I mean, that shit was a setup.
Yeah, definitely.
They were like, oh, we're gonna arrest her because she owes us money. And he fucking falls for it.
And right as he's leaving to catch his flight. So it was like, you know, oh, well, how much money do you have? I'm like, bitch, I got no money. Sorry about it.
I was like, that bitch would have ended up right in jail because fuck all of that.
Apparently they wanted $4,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
I am just a farmer, basically.
Yeah. That was so sad. That was so sad.
I felt really bad for him.
That came across as he thought it was for real.
Yeah.
And then he started seeing things that were not okay. And I think that was on his second trip. Because the first trip was normal.
I think that he really was like, I don't know what exactly he was expecting, or maybe she wouldn't sleep with him, or like, I don't know exactly what, because he was just like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And you could tell he was really like not getting what he like thought he wanted.
Right.
And whether he realized it was a setup or not, like, I don't know, but it was a good scam, certainly, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that he definitely could have found himself a regular girl. Like, you know, obviously, you know, the editing and all that stuff, and the producers are going to keep certain things from the audience, but he seemed pretty normal. Yeah, you know. So the fact that he couldn't find another girl, I kind of felt bad for him, but you know, who knows what he's really like, you know.
Yeah.
So
maybe
then
that's circumstance too. Like,
yeah, I mean, he was in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, but maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe he was like a little weird or something. I mean, come on, they're doing that, so
yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Svetlana is giving the fucking Australian toe picker the cold shoulder now. She's like, because you know, after they get married, she still has to wait for her visa, which takes about 90 days or something for them to get their visa to be able to join their husband.
Yeah.
So during that 90 days is when these scams really sprout.
Yeah.
You know, because now you're married, and so you have to support your bride, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so they make their money, and they say, okay, the process is taking longer than I thought, and then they run the well dry.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
Because they have no intentions of ever getting a freaking visa.
You know? Right. And he was all like, I'll move to Ukraine, I'll be with her there. Like, bitch, nobody wants you here. Like, what are you talking about?
You know?
She don't want you there, obviously.
Yeah.
But he shows up.
Right. So he shows up,
Yeah.
And Svetlana like is like, you know, this is about her and her kids, you know. She's like, he's not my only dude that I'm running, you know.
Mhm.
Because
And
I love him like a human. I don't love him like a man. I was like, oh my God.
And she
Exactly.
openly said, I do this to
Other
maintain my
guys,
life with
yeah.
other guys. I mean, she openly says this.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, I said 90 days, but it takes actually 6 months for them to screen the visa process, you know.
Right.
And then, so that leads me to my favorite of the thing, my two favorites. Okay, Vitalina, who's doing the damn thing. She's doing all the freaking, she's making all the paperwork. She's trying to get everything processed because she really wants to be with her man, Robert, you know. And they're calling each other, and it's like, it's super cute because it's an actual relationship. So it makes you still believe in love, right?
Like, he meets the parents. The parents actually like him. There was like a whole thing.
Right. So then it leads me to the other girl that I thought was my favorite, was Ina. Ina was the 30-year-old maid. And so Ina is now in Texas with the NRA guy. What's his name again?
Isn't that also the one? No. Okay, keep going.
So she's there to meet his family, right? And Ina is as if you drew a cartoon of a Ukraine woman living in the United States. She has the long blonde hair, and she's wearing entirely inappropriate clothes that are barely covering her butt. And she's walking in heels. I mean, through the supermarket.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not talking about heels. We're talking full-on stripper heels. Let's call them what they are.
I love
She was in full-on stripper heel mode.
She was living her best ass life. She didn't care.
I mean, I was slightly jealous that I cannot rock. I want to rock some stripper heels every once in a while.
She was Instagram famous in her own mind.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
And I love that for her. So then they go to see his parents, and them are some Midwest folks. I mean, they were just what's that Midwest voice that you do, Dana? That
I thought they were Texas. They're not Texas.
I don't know. Is Texas in the Midwest? I don't know.
Texas is in the South, I guess, but
okay, but you do that Minnesota voice that it was.
I'm not going to do it.
They are just as white middle America as you could get. I thought
they were really sweet because she was the mom, I guess it was his mom, or I guess it was his mom, who was being like, you know, she's a lot like me, like, you know, she, you know, comes from a family that's just like ours, and like, you know, she's like, I wouldn't have been that brave to leave my country and leave my family, like, she's so brave. I just thought it was really sweet of like, because you would think, or I would think, like, if my son brought home a mail order bride, I would just be like, oh, all right. Like, you know, really like taken aback by it.
Yeah.
And they were really like, you know, they gave her, it seemed like they were giving her a real chance, you know. And understand that, like, she like left her whole family to come here and like understand who she is as a person. Like, I did think that was like kind of nice, you know.
Yeah, they totally gave her the benefit of the doubt for sure, you know. And she hung in there with them. She answered their questions. She was at ease with them.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, damn, she's like she has a body and she's taller than him. Like, he looks so fucking out of place walking with her, you know.
Yeah. There was so many times I was like, really? The wedding. Her dress. I was just like, girl, really?
But I'm not there yet, because in the story, in the show, they bounce back to Svetlana, right? And I'm talking about the scene where Australia shows up and at her door, and he's like demanding, like, you know, all kinds of shit from her, you know. And remember when he fucking pinched her butt? Like, he like freaking pinched her butt, and she was like all like, the fuck?
Also, one thing I noticed about these guys, they kept grabbing their asses. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Was that necessary? all the same way. I'm wondering if the producers were like, grab their asses. Director probably directed them to do that because it looks so awkward.
No, those men don't need to be directed to do gross things. They just do it.
It just felt very awkward.
I mean, obviously, that's like the kind of creep that wouldn't be able to get a woman locally near them because they don't know how to fucking act, you know?
Right.
True.
Oh, it makes me so grossed out. Anyway, so Vitalina, back to Vitalina. I'm obsessed with Vitalina at this point. Okay?
Clearly.
She is adorable. She's even got braces. And, you know, they cut to the scene where she's leaving to America to meet, you know, with Robert. And she leaves her family. I cried when she was saying goodbye to her family. Because she was truly brave. You know what I'm saying? She knew what she was leaving behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she was very close to the family. Like you could tell they were like suffering that she was leaving.
I know, it made me so sad. I really liked her. So then back to Ina. Ina and NRA are getting married and we're at their wedding, and like they show her going through the grocery store, and I like her though because you could tell that she's gonna get hers any way she can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's a hustler.
Yeah. And like, okay, so at the wedding, did you also gag when he kissed her?
That's why I'm cringing right now. I have that dress with an exclamation point and then horrible kiss. Eat her face. Eating her face.
And then like his mom was like, "Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet." And I was like, "Lady, the fuck it is." He was assaulting her. He probably had a boner.
Oh,
I fucking gross.
Like my maybe it was his first kiss because my first kiss was like that.
Oh my God.
The first person that kissed me, my first kiss was in the movie theater. And we were watching what was that movie where the cow gets Twister?
Mm-hmm.
It was that movie. And this kid that I was kissing, which the only reason I was kissing him was because my friend was kissing his best friend. And he like on my mouth, like his whole mouth, I was like, I think I'm breathing in his like carbon monoxide or whatever.
Oh my God.
Like there was like, it was my whole face. I was like, how is this happening? This is like the grossest, weirdest thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh my God.
Maybe it was his first kiss. You didn't know.
We did not know.
No. So Svetlana is gonna break up. We're back to Svetlana, all right, and Australia.
Girl,
she's about to break up with him, and it's fucking hella awkward. I fucking felt unsafe.
Yeah.
And he's like getting irate. He's like getting mad. And you know what? I can't say that I blame him. I mean, you know, the dude could not read between the lines, right? She gave him back the ring and he hugged her. I mean, he was still going to get his licks. He like hugged her and they were done. And she was just like, here, take your ring back, Icky. Bye.
But also, this was after he spent a ton of money taking her and the girls shopping, spent a ton of money in the mall. She was very awkward about everything. She didn't show him any attention. She even told him, don't buy he brought her flowers. She's like, I told you I hate flowers. Why would I want something dead? She tells him it's all a big mistake. Take your ring. Here.
Yes. Yep.
That's tough, man.
And just like that, we're back to douchebag Ron, who turns out he had a girl the whole time. He was just a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then he's at the freaking store. And I wrote, bro, the way that he grabbed her ass should be straight up illegal. Like he did this thing where he like he grabbed her ass, like put the finger and like, I was like, ew, no. I was like, did I just fucking get eye raped? Like what?
That's in my note. That's in my note. What's up with the butt grab? I mean, what is up with that?
It was offensive. The way that he grabbed her ass was fucking offensive. It was illegal. It was an illegal move.
That should not have been on primetime.
No. So back to the big guy. What was his name? Bobby, right?
Bobby.
Oh, okay. He's now over the whole Julia scam, and he's convinced that he has found himself an honest girl this time. All right. Now, picture this one is even younger and hotter. And I was like roaring with laughter. I was like, dude, fool me
Absolutely
once, shame
right.
on you.
Right.
Fool me twice, you're a fucking dumbass.
It almost it like stunk of the early 90s, like the early 2000s, when you got that very first you're actually related to an African prince email or whatever. Like, and you're like, I mean, I could be, right? Like that very first one, you know? And then when you get the second one, you're like, no, I don't think so. You got me last time, but I don't think this time. I don't think I can't be related to 2 African princes.
But he was.
But then he still sent the money. Just in case he was actually related.
The camera guy even turns to him and says, do you ever feel like you're just writing to a photo? And freaking Bobby thinks about it and he's like, huh.
That thought hadn't crossed my mind.
Oh, poor Travis. We're back to poor Travis, the young farmer, the dairy farmer, and he just keeps getting scammed for money. And I guess he realized, like, he cut things off with his girl because he realized that they were just using him for money, you know. And that was kind of sad. But there's no there's nothing for him, you know what I mean? Like that, they just end it at that. He got scammed and he just learned his lesson or whatever, but the story leaves him at that point. Then we go back to Vitalina and Bobby when they get married, their wedding. It was
Vitalina and Robert.
Right. I call him Bobby in my thing, but it's Robert, Vitalina and Robert. And they get married and like, it was so freaking sweet. Like they had a real actual wedding kiss. It was a peck, which damn it, that's how it's supposed to do. Right. And it was actually really, really freaking adorable. And then so these are like they're wrapping the stories up. Right. So Eric, they cut to fucking Eric. Now Ina and Eric are now married and they're like cutting to their marriage, you know, how their married scene is. They have 2 recliners. They're sitting side by side. They're watching church on TV. The guns are next to them. Like I was like, that is American dream. Cliche American.
Yeah, it's the American dream. Absolutely.
Yes. And they cut to his mom and his mom is talking about how he's a better person now that he has Ina. She's like, now I get a Mother's Day email. He's I was like, oh
very personal.
She was just fine with getting a Mother's Day email. Like, how low is this bar?
Set in hell, baby. Set in hell.
Right. Now Ina is pregnant. I was like, oh my God, they fucked. Ew.
They fucked.
Yeah. Oh, and he was like fast and furious, and she got no looks in that. She was just there like his rubber doll. So how about, oh my God, how about the cringy scene where they asked, so in the meantime, all of this is being run by a married couple, a man and his wife that met that whole exchange. Yes. That met through that whole exchange. And when the producers ask her what she thinks love is, what love is to her, she fucking has a whole breakdown and starts crying. And I'm like, are these tears of joy or are you held hostage? Blink twice. I was like, oh my Lord. So then wrap up the story. The baby is born at the end and it's almost like a rebirth, right? Like, you know, something beautiful did come out of this, right? We don't touch any more on Robert and Vitalina, on Travis, on Ron, anybody else. It just ends on Ina and Eric, the NRA guy, right?
Yeah.
But I was not satisfied with just that. Were you?
No, I want to hear about it.
Okay, Cindy, do you have anything else to add before I go into the?
I do not. Yeah, I think it was the only thing I was gonna say was that it was matchmaking services called loveme.com, I think it was. I could be wrong. At least I thought that I wrote it correctly. So that's, and yeah, the husband and wife, and I think they had multiple kids and they were doing very well financially from this agency.
Oh yeah. Those that couple, yes. I bounced around a lot in this story, and for that I apologize, but the show was very much bouncing around from character to character, right? It was segmented into these, characters. And so we don't hear again about Travis. We don't hear anything else about Travis. I didn't even bother to look him up. Travis is dead to me right now. I did follow the couples. Okay. I wanted to know if Ina and Eric stayed together, and I wanted to know if Vitalina and Robert, stayed together. Right. So let's go with Ina and Eric. So they had the baby, right? 2 years later, they get divorced. Ina divorces him, but she puts herself through nursing school. So she becomes a nurse.
Good.
She becomes a nurse. She dyes her hair brown or whatever. Maybe that was her natural hair color. And and she's raising Bobby Jr., Eric Jr. or whatever. And so she's on her own, and she's raising him. And you can still find NRA guy Eric. He has a whole new look. He's like management position in a he's got like a LinkedIn profile or some shit. So he's like a professional guy. He's not the redneck that they show him on TV to play. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Like he's an actual engineer. You know what I mean? Like he does engineering and
yeah.
In other words, he could actually afford to pay the tens of thousands that they required on this thing. Yeah, he did 6 trips.
Crazy.
Before he found Ina.
But I think that they wanted to make him more ignorant looking than he actually was. But
well, when you start pulling out a bunch of guns and shit, you are like,
but I mean,
you made yourself look that way.
Right. If you look on the internet, he's like suit and tie guy. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like a totally different thing. But yeah, so I wanted to just say that Ina she did the thing, man. She came to this country, she got herself an education, and she's raising her little boy on her own,
Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah. So and it only took 2 years.
Yeah.
So and then Vitalina and Robert. Vitalina and Robert are still married. They have a shared Facebook account. They are absolutely adorable. They have a little boy, I think. Yeah, a little boy and I think a little girl that they just had. And they're still married and going strong.
That's good. Aww. That's so sweet.
You ended on the good note.
Yeah. So they're still together and and adorable. I think they have like a close-knit family in their neighborhood, because like from what I found, like they're close with their neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like in their neighborhood and stuff.
They got a little like white picket fence, that whole situation happening.
Yeah, like they have a network of friends.
That's cool.
Yeah, they have a network of friends, and and they're doing just fine. So I was really happy to see that they're actually normal people that that are thriving.
Well, and that's what makes it like, okay, so like it's out there then, right? Like it can happen. Like so it does give hope to like these guys who are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like,
well, see, the thing is though that the people that were in it for the right reasons, you know what I mean? Like Robert went in there, he was not looking for somebody to be subservient to him. He was looking for somebody to have fun with, you know what I mean? And he was a genuine guy. He wasn't like looking for a supermodel girl. He wanted a girl who wanted the same things as he did. And Vitalina did too. She just wanted a good partner, a good person to have kids with and, to grow with. Ina had something else in mind. Ina wanted an easy way to come into this country and do it all on her own. Because Ina was 30 years old. She wasn't settling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, how easy could it have been? I mean, that was work. I mean,
Yeah.
2
That was
years taking it
Having a
was
baby.
work.
Yeah.
That just the kiss alone at the wedding was work.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, you know, she was goal oriented. That was her goal.
Right.
And she
Mhm.
found him
She
as
got an education. Yeah.
yeah, she found him as a means of getting here and doing the thing, you know. And had
Yeah.
he been a decent human, maybe they would have stayed together, you know, who knows. But you could tell that he wasn't a decent human. He was
He
a
wasn't.
fucking gross man baby.
Yeah.
Also, I'm wondering, so does he have any connection to the child?
I
Did it
mean,
lead to that?
not that I could tell, but I'm sure, you know, I'm sure he does. I mean, he's
Mhm.
definitely
You
paying
think
child
she didn't
support.
get him for child support the minute she ain't stupid.
No.
You know?
Oh, I'm sure she did, but I was
Yeah.
just wondering, you know.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't find out about that, but I mean, it was really interesting. There's a whole like forum about these people.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people were invested.
Oh, well, Danny went on. So the reason we watched this is because Danny found goes down these YouTube holes, and she found an initial YouTube video, and she was like, but something's missing, and then found the full movie on Prime and watched it, and she was like, y'all gotta watch this. And then she also further did what Nydia did and went into watching other things to see what else happened to the families.
Yeah, it was a whole train wreck. I really enjoyed watching it.
And Nydia went looking at the Facebooks and
Oh, yeah.
LinkedIn's and everything. I'm like, girl.
So that's what people are obsessed with 90 Day Fiance. And
Mhm.
like, that's not exactly the same thing. These aren't like necessarily mail order brides or whatever. Like, they're people they're meeting on the internet, but they're doing that thing that you're talking about. It takes that 90 days to get their visa or whatever the case is.
Mhm.
And like, I've seen a few episodes. My stepmom watches it. When I was living there, I would like stop and like watch it with her or whatever. And it is very, very fucking interesting because the dynamic of, it's not always a man in America. Sometimes it's a woman in America that's like meeting a man from like wherever, you know, whatever. They're from countries all over the world.
Mhm.
And it does make me be like, I think that's the next show I'm gonna binge, because like there's something there that people are really into, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
think I'm into it too. Like,
Yeah.
I am not. This is not in my I can't. I can't. Mm-mm.
there's this
because it's cringy.
well, there's
Yes.
this there's this guy on the show. You've seen memes of him. He's like this. He has his head and neck are like the same. They all like just
Mhm.
meet into
Yes,
one.
I know exactly
And
which one you're
The
talking about.
girl he's married to or whatever, she's like from the Philippines or somewhere in like Asia or something. And the episode that I saw, he goes there and meets her, and she's like taking him to all these like little touristy, like tourist traps that you like see, like little like um carts along the street where you can buy like, you know, shit, you know, clothes and shit like this, fake purses, all this shit. And she's like, oh, I want this. And he's buying it. She's like, oh, I want that. And he's starting to get mad because she just keeps like putting shit on, like, he'll pay for it, he'll pay for it, he'll pay for it.
Mhm.
And then they meet in this hotel room or whatever, and he hands her a toothbrush and he's like, you need to brush your teeth. Yeah, it's fucking shocking. Like, it is like, Turtle Man, who are you telling to brush their teeth, sir? Like, and he's just like, but like the smell of your breath is very like off-putting. And he just like tells her straight up. And I'm like, sir, no.
But she marries him.
I don't know. I think she does, because like they go on for a couple of seasons. So like I would assume if they, you know, if it goes on for more than one season, there must be some sort of something there. Yeah.
There's pictures of him online. He was so good looking as a young man.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, what in the hell happened to you?
His daughter's on TikTok too, and she like talks about like the relationship.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, share it. What the fuck have you been holding out?
I'll have to see if I can find one, because I didn't realize who she was initially. And then I was
Okay.
like reading the comments and I was like, oh my God, it's the girl from 90 Day Fiance. They're talking about that fucking Turtle Man from the
Oh
90
my
Day Fiance.
Well, we're running out of time. So I was thinking, are we going to do a watch party for our next thing, or what do you guys want to do?
Let's make a post in Patreon. And let's see if we can figure out a way to watch that other documentary and see if
Oh,
you guys
should we
would be
tell them what we were thinking of doing?
So I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. It came up as a suggestion under this video in the Amazon thing.
It's
So
just
I don't
as
even know.
trashy.
It's yeah, right, exactly. I don't know how we would go about watching it. We'll have to do some like a little research or whatever. But if you guys are interested, we would love to watch it and like have reactions along with you or whatever. I know it's not always easy for us to do a watch party, but if you guys are interested, we'd like to do it because it is.
Apparently, as of right now, it's free and available on Pluto TV, Tubi, and Vudu.
Okay.
So I'll check and see if I can do a watch party through those things. Do a telewatch or whatever it's
I
called.
mean, it's peak voyeurism, but it's a lot. So comment in Patreon if you've ever seen it. Comment if you. I know Lori is one of our patrons, and she is the one that told me to watch this like a decade ago. Like she was the one talking about it. So like I know she's seen this movie. So, and I know she watches these videos. So hey, but
another option was what other one were we considering? There was somebody made a suggestion. Somebody made a suggestion on Facebook.
Oh, Emma made a suggestion the other day. I don't have it off the top of my head, but she made a suggestion.
Something boys, something kids, or something.
My Dangerous Son or something like that. I know it was having to do with raising. It piggybacked off the episode that we just released,
right?
About living with a boy. Living with a son that has mental illness and is a danger to himself and others. So in other words, that would be the other option. But I mean, if you have any suggestions, I mean, this is for you. We do this for you. So if you have any suggestions, please just, let us know and we will watch it. Because if there's anything that I could do is watch.
Yeah. One sounds like for smarty pants and one sounds really trashy. So but I'd be open to watching both of them, truly, because the other one sounds really actually kind of fascinating that I would like to watch.
Yeah. But it's more on the sadder side. So I definitely
I mean, now The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia is also really sad. For a totally different reason.
The one was called My Dangerous Son. That was from Michelle. Hi, Michelle. And she said that's available on either Hulu or Prime right now.
Okay.
All right.
So those are our options. All right. So see you next week. Or see you tomorrow because we're recording tomorrow, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, bye.
Thanks for dining with us. See you next month.